All right, this is kind of an interesting reading. This is Monday. And what do we got? Monday. Monday the 8th. Monday, November 8th. Just finished talking to a guy in a parking lot when I was heading back to my truck. Saw he was talking to another guy for a while, and I came over to basically say, hey, that's a nice truck that you have. It's an older one. He's fixed up quite a bit, so that's pretty cool. We started chatting a little bit, all three of us, and then I had to go in the store, take care of business, came back out. Came back, we started chatting more, and the fellow that was kind of leading, the guy that owned the truck, it was a semi truck that he had, and it was from the 80s, early 80s, and he had fixed it up really well and was still using it, which is very rare. Super classic, very old school looking cab over, which I thought was just pretty neat. And listening to this guy, he was talking about his bloodline, who he is, where he came from, who his bloodline people are, how they, are some of the movers and shakers from back in the old days. And the other guy ended up leaving, and this fella and I talked for over an hour. And I came back to my truck here and thought, this is a very peculiar event, and I kind of want to just think things over a little bit, and I'm going to do a reading on this guy. Just do a reading to see about this event and see what the reading comes up with. So I ended up pulling, this is my standard pattern that I came up with, I don't know, almost 15 years ago, for tarot and runes, for dice, for pretty much everything, as a general do-all type of reading. And so if you've seen me lay this one out before, you kind of know how it works. The top card or top rune, the top position is the headship. So kind of what's the headship of the situation, or what headship overall. The bottom two is the foundation. And then the center is kind of a timeline, lifeline, balanced kind of thing. The two on the left are paired up, the two on the right are paired up, and the center is the pivot point. So it's the pivot point between north and south and left and right. We can also get into the different elementals and all this aspect, so you can see this yourself. This was brought to me by a spirit, and I've liked the pattern from the first day. So let's name off the cards, the particular runes that we have this time. And on the top we have the Tyre, or Tiwas, and that's one of the old sky gods, the ancient sky god, and basically dealing with justice, rule of law, righteousness type of thing. So, this guy talked about that a lot, that who his family was, is the military arm of the papacy. And that was kind of an interesting thing there. So that kind of goes with the sky god Yahweh, which is, the God of the Old Testament. So he was the sky god, and all about the rule of law, and that kind of goes right along with this. He mentioned, he follows the 10 Commandments and all this. That's kind of interesting. Then the next two, so we'll have Ingwas and Nathus, which is basically seeds or creation, or the seed of creation, or creation seed, has to do with personal growth. And then the Nautus has need and necessity, So that's kind of interesting. So we would say, there's a need, necessity of personal growth, kind of like either causing it or stopping it, or there's a cyclic event to it. You can see by the just the way the way they're positioned. They are tied together in this growth need pattern. In the center, in the pivot, that's the Othala, that's the fatherland and home, kind of home base, called an inheritance. And that's pretty interesting how he's lined up with the center of, first his headship is godship, God. The center is inheritance. That kind of lines up pretty neat. And not just inheritance, but it's a homeland. It's basically, it's kind of the fundamental homeland place of a being. And it's right in his heart, his spine position. That's pretty cool. And then we're going to get Wunjo, which is about peace and happiness, or peace and joy, along with Urus, which is this ox, but it's not just ox. It's more like it's fundamental power, fundamental authority, fundamental strength. So there's this interesting pairing up with peace and joy with fundamental strength. That's kind of a very interesting pattern. Then, as we go down towards the bottom, we get the Haglas, which is elemental disruption. It's not just total disruption, it's destruction of the forces of nature. That's the one on the bottom left. And then tied to that is man, or manas, and that means mankind, which, if you tie up this fundamental destruction, elemental destruction, and mankind, that really sounds like, the foundation of the Catholic Church, because they've done that quite a bit, gone somewhere, disrupt that society, bring in their particular ways of doing things in society. And that matches exactly what this guy is talking about, that his family is instrumental in going around and doing this stuff, throughout all the early Christian days up until recent times, and that their whole foundation is the destruction of the ways of man and bringing about a new system. I've got to say, for this rune reading, I'm always amazed. My tarot readings and rune readings are absolutely amazing, but this has got to be just in your face, kind of in your face truth. Absolutely blown away. Really so amazing. That's it. So this is Shamanic Runes and Joe the Tarot Guy. So I'm going to put this on both of my YouTube profiles and see which one of you folks tend to respond more. There's two different groups that seem to look at runes. I do hope you like this. If you've got some feedback the way you look at it, I'd really appreciate you putting that down in the comments below. So, I love you guys. Be richly blessed. Have a most wonderful day. And take care of yourselves. Ciao.